Hello, friends. Notes on English Literature, Elizabethan and Jacobean Drama. The Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. Short questions with answers. Short questions 18 to 23. Question 18. How was the Duchess tortured in her imprisonment? Answer. The Duchess was arrested by Bosola under her brother's instruction and was imprisoned. Ferdinand wanted to kill her. He visited her in the darkness. In the dark room, he gives her a severed hand with a ring. She kisses the hand unknowingly and discovers to be a dead man's hand. She thinks that it is Antonio's hand. After Ferdinand left, the Duchess sees the wax figures behind a curtain that appears to her to be Antonio and the children dead. Thus, she is tormented by the shows of her dead husband and children. Her cruel brothers put wild madness around her room to howl and dance in a procession to torture her. They perform their antics before the Duchess, but she bears all this torture with exemplary courage and patience. Then Bosola torments her in the guise of a tomb maker. She appears before her disguised as an old man and tells her that he has come to make her tomb. Thus, the Duchess becomes the victim of severe torture. Question 19. How does the Duchess bear the torture in her imprisonment? Answer. The Duchess is severely tortured under her brother's instruction. She is tortured, showing her the wax figures of her husband and children. Her cruel brothers put wild madmen around her room to howl and dance in a procession to torture her. They perform their antics before the Duchess, but she bears all this torture with exemplary courage and patience. She bears her misfortune with admirable fortitude. She has not seen any dissatisfaction with her state of suffering. She bears adversity with majesty and dignity. Bosola says that in grief she looks more lovely than in her days of cheerfulness and happiness. She seems much better in her tears than in her smiles. Bosola also torments her in the guise of a tomb maker. When the executioners enter with a coffin, corpse, and beadle, she remains unafraid. She says that none is afraid of death if he knows that he will meet the finest companions in the other world. Bosola again tells her that their rope should frighten her, with which she is going to be strangled. But she tells him that it does not frighten her in the least because there are 10,000 ways in which human beings may die. And all the ways of death are similar as all the ways take them to God. So it doesn't matter for the Duchess whether her throat is cut by diamonds, pearls, or strangled with a rope. Instead of being frightened, she asked the executioners to put the rope around her neck and pull it strongly because their effective strength would not only succeed in killing her but also bring heaven down upon her. She means that by killing her, the executioners will send her to heaven. Question 20. Briefly describe the character of the Duchess. And so the Duchess is a beautiful young widow. She is a sister to the Cardinal and twin sister to Ferdinand. She had just been widowed in the prime of her life. Her brothers warn her not to remarry, and she assures them that she will never remarry. Her brothers employ Bosola as a spy to keep a vigilant eye upon her in the guise of the manager of horses. In spite of her brother's warning, she secretly marries her steward Antonio and gives birth to 3 children by him. He keeps vigilant eye on her and suspects her that she is pregnant when she begins to wear a loose gown. He gives her apricots. She eats them greedily. He becomes sure of her pregnancy. He very cunningly extracts the secrets from the Duchess by praising Antonio. He arrests her under her brother's instruction and tortures her in the guise of a tomb maker. Under his command, the executioners strangle her, thus her hasty marriage ultimately leads to the destruction of her entire family, except their eldest son. She is a strong-willed, brave, passionate, proud, and loving wife and mother. Her goodness and vitality stand in stark contrast to her brother's evil. Question 21. What was the last piece of advice of the Duchess to Cariola regarding her children? Answer. The Duchess was a young widow. She secretly married Antonio, the steward of her household. This enraged her brothers and the Cardinal and Ferdinand. Ferdinand decided to kill her and sent a group of executioners led by Bosola. So when she is finally going to be strangled, she requested Cariola to take care of her children. The Duchess tells Cariola that it is Cariola's duty to look after her children, to take care for, and to care for boys cold by some syrup, and to teach the girl to say her prayer before she goes to sleep. Thus, before her death, she tells her maid and confidant to take care of her children. It reflects her motherly love and affection. It shows that a mother loves her child even at the cost of her life. When the Duchess is going to be strangled, she does not think of herself, but of her children. So at the time of her death, she urges her maid to take care of her children. Question 22. Describe the scene in which the Duchess is strangled. The Duchess is severely tortured under her brother's instruction. She is tortured, showing her the wax figures of her husband and children. Her cruel brothers put wild madmen around her room to howl and dance in a procession to torture her. They perform their antics before the Duchess, but she bears all this torture with exemplary courage and patience. Then Bosola torments her in the guise of a tomb-maker. She appears before her disguised as an old man and tells her that he has come to make her tomb. Then the executioners enter with a coffin, cords, and bill. Before the execution, Bosola asks her if she is afraid of death. She says that none is afraid of death if he knows that he will meet the finest companions in the other world. Bosola again tells her that their rope should frighten her, with which she is going to be strangled. But she tells him that it does not frighten her in the least, because there are 10,000 ways in which human beings may die, and all the ways of death are similar as all the ways take them to the God. So it does not matter for the Duchess whether her throat is cut by diamond, pearls, or strangled with a rope. Instead of being frightened, she asked the executioners to put the rope around her neck and pull it strongly, because their effective strength would not only succeed in killing her, but also bring heaven down upon her. She means that by killing her, the executioners will send her to heaven. Then she is strangled. Thus she is a woman of great mental strength and meets her death with patience. Question 23. Describe the scene in which all the villains are killed. Answer. Bosola makes the Duchess killed by strangling her under the instructions of her brothers, Ferdinand and Cardinal. But after the denial of his reward, Bosola changes totally and decides to take revenge upon the brothers with an intention to kill the Cardinal. He enters his room and kills Antonio by mistaking him for the Cardinal. Bosola then proceeds to meet the Cardinal and kill him. When Bosola finds him, he is reading a book containing a fire of hell. When he tells the Cardinal that he has come to kill him and stabs him, he cries for help. On his crying for help, Ferdinand enters the room and gives mortal wounds both to Bosola and the Cardinal. Bosola in return stabs Ferdinand. Thus, the villains Ferdinand, the Cardinal, and Bosola meet their doom at the end of the play, The Duchess of Malfi. Thank you, friends, for watching my video.